weather is violence. The letter that you wrote, the statement that you read at the beginning is incredibly vague. It gives no information about what you're planning to do. And in it, I hear you need hope. Hope is not going to get us through this. We need your work, your informed work, and listening to your community, not hope. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mallory Owen. I'm a local Monroe County resident. I'm a homeowner here in town and also a business owner, a small business owner. I'm the only person who works there, so my business had to shut down to come here today. So it's kind of hard and tricky for me to find time. So I just kind of wanted to first off say thank you to the community for helping me figure out how to be here and how to participate. It's my first time coming to a county commissioners meeting, and so without people helping me figure out how to navigate this, I don't think I could be here to voice my opinions. So I'd like to talk about my concerns with transparency of funds and kind of rules of order issues. I kind of have just been hearing from people in my community that there is some questions about how funds that are going to be used for evictions, where those are coming from and where they ought to be going towards, like, aren't they for building infrastructure? So I'm concerned about that. I don't really know very much about it, but I just think that that's something that I'm concerned about. I'm also confused about this timing issue and how agenda items aren't allowed to be talked about in public comment. So I guess I'd like to say that I think it's kind of strange that we can't talk about items on the agenda. I think that kind of seems like it would be, that's kind of counterintuitive to me. And then I'd also just like to say I live right across from Building Trades Park, and I've been able to, in the last 5 years I've lived there, notice some of the kind of patterns of my homeless neighbors as things shift around. So I'm not talking about this eviction specifically necessarily, but I just wanted to point out that I have noticed as evictions happen, and they do happen all the time, we see definitely a huge uptick in the number of people that come and live in our park and struggle to be supported by the infrastructure there. So I just kind of want to point out that just because they get moved, people don't stop having these issues, right? Like the things that I know people, I guess, have been concerned about, like litter or I don't know, being outside at night, I guess, or fighting or things like that. That happens still regardless if that's actually a concern. Now it's just happening somewhere else, and I think also the displacement that people face is going to be something that kind of just upticks all these things that people are concerned about, right? So the concerns that we're facing aren't going to necessarily be fixed just by moving it, right? So, just kind of increases the struggle for everyone involved when we do things without planning. So again, I just want to thank the community for bringing this to light, helping me get together, especially when it's so tricky to find times to talk to you guys and what we're allowed to talk about. So thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jesse Kagi, and I'm a Monroe County resident in the 1st District. I was here last week, and I want to take a moment to talk about my overall experience in working with your team on what I thought would be a no-brainer decision 7 days ago. When I spoke last week, I came to this podium with a little hope in the democratic process. I wasn't necessarily holding my breath, but I had a sliver of optimism that there was some truth in that public statement that you read at the beginning of every meeting. After hearing Commissioner Thomas tell us last week that the supposed comfort of homeowners is more important than preventing a cold weather death, which this eviction will absolutely lead to based on data that we have collected, this hope completely left my body. Instead of spending the last week working on final projects and studying for exams, I have been losing sleep knowing that my friends are going to lose their homes, and even worse, that they have nowhere to go. We have conducted yeah, go for it. Thank you. We have conducted near daily meetings with public officials who actually do want to listen to their constituents, all while continuing to conduct camp outreach. 2 days ago, I went out at 6 a.m. with a friend over here to work with some people before a 9 a.m. class to make sure that they didn't lose all their possessions as a result of the clearing at Brown Woods, which I know isn't you guys, but I feel that it is relevant. I see the game that is being played now. And after all of this deliberation, the question I want to ask is why now? Why can you not wait till April 1st? Why does seemingly everyone in the county except Julie Thomas, Angela Purdy, and Richard Kreider vehemently oppose conducting this clearing in the winter? I want to know because this is cruel and unacceptable. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Denise Travers. I'm a 37-year resident of Bloomington. I have volunteered weekly at the Monroe County Community Kitchen, and I'm a member of the Bloomington Friends Committee, or Bloomington Friends meeting, the Quakers. I am privileged. I am able to show up at this meeting, which I found out about less than 48 hours ago from a Signal chat. Now we hear that this topic is being postponed with little to no notice to 1 p.m. I'll be there. I'm privileged. I'm not sure how many of us, the rest of us, will be able to be there. I am privileged. I hope that at this meeting, you will choose not just to listen to your community advocates, but you will choose to work with us. This is an untenable situation. The lack of transparency about this process here today is evidence of the lack of commitment of the leadership in this community, and that is unacceptable. I'll be there. I'll be listening. We'll be there.
Hello, I'm Jack Bunicki. I'm currently residing here in Bloomington. And I just kind of wanted to talk about how there's sort of a tendency to dehumanize homeless people. Like a lot of the times, people's interactions with homeless people are them struggling, like maybe they're having a mental breakdown or some other challenge that they're having. And I just want to say, like, that tendency to just like see them as just not people is just completely like, I mean, it's just evil. I'll just say it. And I think when we want to address homelessness as an issue, you can't just keep pushing them around. Like, they don't stop being homeless when you evict them. They don't stop struggling. You need to give them houses, give them a place to live. And I think, like, focusing on just evictions, especially during the winter when, I mean, they're like fighting for their lives right now. I think it's just ridiculous and evil. That's all.
Good morning. My name is Ivan. I am a Monroe County resident. I'm originally brought here to the city of Bloomington through the university. I'm finishing out my studies here this semester, and I had the wonderful opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. To do an internship program, and someone who considers myself civically engaged, both politically and in state and local matters, and something that I was really left with after that experience is a real understanding of why institutions, specifically government institutions, have really had a cratering in faith in the public. And so I kind of came back a little disillusioned, being somebody who wanted to feel like I could be there in the halls of change, right next to where everything's happening. And I left with a total lack of confidence that I would actually be able to affect the kind of change that makes me interested in public affairs in the first place. So coming back to Bloomington, I was in the PACE program, and I actually had the privilege of having County Commissioner Julie Thomas as my professor for that course. And a lot of times I think local matters, local politics, and local government can seem really opaque by its structure, right? We're flooded in our news feeds, in the newspaper, whatever medium you choose to consume, information about public affairs. These local issues can take the wayside by amount of interest, but it can often seem, like I said, very opaque and very difficult to kind of get the story on things and to familiarize yourself with the goings on of your community. But you brought in guests like the wonderful Dave Askins of the B Square Beacon, and I learned the forums to consume this kind of information, to familiarize myself, and I think pursuant to the idea of transparency and trying to bring more people into the fold, get the community to engage with institutions like this, like the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, I would just implore the council to, again, consider the fact that I cannot be here at 1 p.m. and I do not work a full-time job. I'm a student, and it's an incredible place of privilege, but when we limit the comment to a period in the middle of the workday, when obviously I think seems a little silly to have that kind of constraint, when obviously that's not what the community here interested in speaking and participating is interested in talking about. And so what I'd like to end, a last thing I learned from your course is that there's going to be an inherent bias of any body to listen to the voices that vote and that listen to those who show up. And I've had the privilege of gaining some bit of my own platform on the internet locally and in spaces beyond that, and we're listening, and we'd like to have that bias go towards us. So thank you very much.
Can you guys hear me through this mask? Good. Hi, my name is Katie Norris. I'm the Executive Director of Hotels for Homeless. I apologize for showing up in my pajamas, but I rushed in when I realized Teams wasn't working. So if there's a way to fix that, that would be great. I know we have somebody on Teams also that would like to get in. So my family didn't understand why I would rush and jump up first thing to come into this meeting in person. But I'm very sick. My children are very sick. And I hope that this is as one last chance to not have to spend my weekend in negative degree weather moving people from camp to hotels and storage units. So I come to you today to desperately plead for an extension on this eviction, not on behalf of the dozens of people who are currently living at this camp. You have already heard and understand the devastating and potentially deadly consequences this eviction will have on them. You know that their chances of survival significantly decrease instantly upon their eviction. How them losing the safest and most stable place they have found and worked hard to call home will put them at greater risk for being robbed, raped, and even murdered right here at night on the streets of Bloomington. That's not up for question. That's just reality. Not to mention that if the eviction takes place on Monday the 15th, that the 2 days before, when they will have to prepare, pack, and leave the temperatures are going to be -1 and -3 respectively. Today, I am begging for an extension on the eviction on behalf of the rest of our community. There is not nearly enough time today to explain the exponential negative effects our community will suffer by displacing just over 24 more people. The strain this will put on our already inadequate social services is beyond even my comprehension at this point. I have only recently been able to wrap my mind around the serious and undeniable negative impact this will have on a handful of service providers and those who use our services that I am personally in contact with. I am just one person, and I only run one organization, and I am mind blown at how this eviction is going to affect just the small group of people that I work with. This eviction will put added strain on our shelters, outreach providers, mental health services, soup kitchens, material support providers, and of course, our local emergency services. This will leave all of those who already rely on these services to survive with less resources than they already have. And let me promise you, they do not have enough. The negative impact this eviction at this time will have on our community is so much greater than the negative impact of allowing them to stay for now and giving us all more time to find solutions. Thank you.
My name is Matt Frost, and I come to you as one of the occupants of the Thomson property. And I just, sorry, I'm not, but like, I look at it as like, when the eviction is just, I'm here to, oh, sorry.
You're doing good. Just take a deep breath.
This whole thing has been very nerve-wracking and overwhelming for me, because I go back to my tent every day and not knowing what the future is going to hold, and seeing that you guys want to see this eviction through, not only during the winter but so close to the Christmas season, when we're always taught about goodwill towards our fellow man and all this stuff. You know, this season we're supposed to be where we're supposed to be positive and uplifting towards the people that we have that are less fortunate than us. But the way it's just oh. So yeah, I'm really not good with words. I'm sorry, but I just want a chance to just be able to know that I can at least stay at my tent and at least have the chance to be, if we get this eviction extended, for us to help. That would help me get some time to get my life together. That would help me get the stuff that I need, because I'm in a position where I know I don't want to be in this spot all the time, but all I know is it's been overwhelming, as you can see. I'm stumbling my words here. If we can just get this extension, it will be a lot of pressure off of me, and I know it'll be a lot of pressure off the rest of the occupants out there. I know I just want this opportunity to just let you guys realize how hard it's been on me, and I'm sure it's just as hard on the people of the rest of the property. I figure I might not be able to speak for all of them personally, but I wanted you guys to at least hear a little bit from one person's experience. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have somebody online with the initial DT. If you could unmute. We've got somebody online.
Wonderful. They can't unmute themselves. You have to unmute them.
We don't do that here. We have TSD up in the booth doing that, so we're good. Thank you.
They've got it.
My name is. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dion Tross. I'm here this morning outside of my classroom, actually. I have class literally in 10 minutes. And despite that, I'm here talking to you all this morning because I have finals week and I am so nervous and anxious about my finals. But above all else, I am terrified and anxious and nervous about how you are deciding to handle the issue with the evictions of the encampment. I know that you're saying there may be time that we can stay, but despite that, I myself, as many other people here in person and online, are here at this time right now to speak to you all about this very important and pressing issue. I know that despite that, you still want to have this meeting at 1 p.m., but I'm still going to say my piece because it is so important for us and for so many of these people to share with you our concern. It's so concerning. I myself have lived here in Bloomington, Indiana. I have been here in Monroe County for many years. I went to elementary school here. I went to middle school here. I went to high school here. I go to IU. I am an IU student. And all my life, all this time, we are all taught that, the oldest standard, we have to be kind and treat people the same way that we want to see other people treated, or we want to see ourselves being treated. And I am so privileged to be able to live here, have a home here, have a home to look back to, have friends and family who have homes. But unfortunately, I also have friends who don't have homes, who are part of the Thomson property. And on top of all these finals that I'm thinking about, it is so heartbreaking and nerve-wracking that I also have to think how scary it is for these people who they don't know if they are going to be able to stay in their tents and their shelters. They don't know where their next support resources are going to come from. And you just want to, ping pong this situation until you don't have to hear about it anymore, and that's really concerning. So I just want to say my piece now, and I hope that many people online, in person, if you're not going to say something, be encouraged to say something to help. This is very important. This is very pressing. These people deserve to be able to stay there at their encampments until spring so that they have a safe and secure opportunity to stay alive. This is a life and death situation that we're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Please come up to the podium. Thank you.
My name is Sid Holub. I'm a resident here of Monroe, and I just want to really quickly say I was told there's people waiting in the Teams lobby to come in, so if we are able to let them in, that would be awesome. I also want to thank Matt for coming to speak just now. That is a very hard and scary thing to do. You are facing a very hard time in your life, and so I just want to thank you for coming here. We are all here to amplify your voice, and we are all here for you. I did not grow up in Bloomington. I grew up in Indiana, in a small, rural, red area. And I was so excited to come here to Bloomington because I was told this is a big blue dot. I'm gonna be safe as a queer person. I'm gonna be safe as femme presenting. I'm gonna be safe in all these different ways. And I found hope coming to Bloomington with the belief that we could be an example and that we can do something better for people. And I have seen that. I had the privilege of working on research on our problem-solving courts here. I've had the privilege of working with Maurer School of Law, creating new accesses to justice. My passion is access to justice, and that's what this is right now. God, this is access to justice. This is basic necessities that people need to live. And you guys are going and you are going to evict them and put them in danger. And that is terrifying to me. I had so much hope in coming here and believing that I can come to a community that would make a difference. And I just implore you guys, please, to just prove me correct, that we are better than this. that we are humane and compassionate, and that we care for everyone in our community, from the top 1% to all the way down to the people who do not have homes, the people who don't have medical care access, to everyone in our communities, because I can see what happens when we care and when we show up for our community members. So I just implore you guys, please, to just stop this madness and just wait. Just give them the chance to April 1st to just wait and give them a chance to find a new place, or just to not put them out in the cold where there's a chance that they're going to freeze to death. That is just so inhumane. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is John Kagi. I live here in Bloomington, Monroe County, and I'm just sitting back there listening, and I'm thinking about our society as a whole and how one of the important measures of a society is how they treat their elderly, their poorest, their mentally ill, their most downtrodden and, poorest citizens. And as far as I can see, our present administration in Washington is failing miserably at this. Our state, as far as I can see, is our Republican Indiana state, Hoosier state, is failing miserably. And as far as I can see so far, you guys are failing miserably in this. You and you, excuse me, can you look at me? Thank you. You and you are failing miserably at this. And that's an important, that's a measure of our society, how we treat our poorest. And you guys can make a difference, and you're not so far. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maureen Langley. I'm a resident of Monroe County. I grew up here. I went to Monroe County schools. I choose to come back here and live as an adult after college. I have been listening very carefully today, and from what I hear from commissioners is a lot of biased personal fear. Fear for yourselves, fear for people in our community who already have homes, but not enough fear for the people who will be outside tonight. The individuals living in encampments they're not a threat. I've met them personally. I have never once been afraid of them. Evicting them does not create safety. It simply pushes suffering out of sight, and I fear that is what some of you want. Safety does not come from displacing the most vulnerable. It comes from ensuring that everyone in Monroe County has a safe and stable place to live. For now, for some, that means the Thomson property. Displacement is not a solution. It is harm. It is an act of violence, and I oppose the evictions, and I hope you will too. Thank you.
We have her online. A.M. Moss is the last name, I believe. Yes, please go ahead. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Keith Moss, resident of Monroe County. I just want to reiterate some real quick math that current census of homeless population in Monroe County is 305. We know to be short the total. Total number of beds at the best. If every shelter is open at maximum capacity, full staff and volunteers, we're sitting around 250 beds in all of Monroe County. Interestingly enough, that is a lower number than the total population. Your actions are going to add 40 people to that total who need to access these resources. As right now, they do not need to access these resources because they have found a safe shelter for the winter.
next up here, Nanette, you in the room? Oh, there's, is he on this unmuted? No, very great. Okay, sorry. Yes, please.
Hello, my name is Toby Robb. I would like to bring up the original inhabitants of the land currently called Bloomington, Indiana, which I haven't seen the agenda. I'm willing to bet that's not there. I would like to call to attention irony, but I'm not going to terrible today, so I'll say disgusting. To bring up the concepts of property and trespassing by a government that's historically violently displaced many nations, including the Peoria Nation, the Kickapoo Nation, and the Miami Nation, among others, from this land. People again. I would also remark that we all know that Marie Antoinette never said, let the people who have no bread eat cake. We know that never historically happened. But to say that it's more safe to live indoors to homeless people is probably the closest thing that I've heard in real life. I would also like to concur with the other speaker earlier today in naming Julie Thomas, Angie Purdy, and Richard Pryor, and anyone who has dissident in this nation as murderers unapologetically. And if that causes you any discomfort, then for one thing I would say that it's much less discomfort than freezing to death. And also to remind you that you have the power to not be murderers. And I implore you to do that. I recognize that this is a public comment session and not a conversation. So that is all I have to say. Thank you one more time.
Hello. How we doing this morning? Feeling okay? This can be tense, right? It's hard. Not so bad for you, right? Yeah.
No, I'm listening.
Okay.
We're listening.
I
Appreciate everybody being here.
I don't think you do. I think you're waiting for us to get tired and go home. Because this is hard for us, and you know that. You sicken me personally. How does that make you feel? That you're despised by your community? Anything? Yeah, so this isn't a discussion, but you get to make the rules on when it's a discussion. You answer when you like. Yeah, it could be a conversation, but it isn't because you don't want it to be. That's fine. I have a couple of things to say. Everyone see that social media video where a couple of these jokers came out to the camps? Yeah, hands? Yeah. Wasn't it kind of crazy how they had to ask, like, where the campers shit, even though supposedly the shit is everywhere and it's like a huge problem? Right? Like, isn't that actually kind of crazy? Because it's almost like you don't think of these people as real humans. I know you don't. At the last session, you talked about how, well, you see, we have to get them out of the camps because what if they made me feel icky and I shot them in the fucking head through my door without checking? Are you nuts? That's really weird to say. Like, do you not feel weird for saying that? No, we got a head shake. No. Incredible. Incredible. So you're cool if you shot my friend Matt in the head through his door. Like, that's not a problem to you. That doesn't make you feel weird. You disgust me. The reality is you don't see these people as human, which is why you actually had to go and see for yourself that they, like other human beings you might have met, keep their places as nice as they can, because that's what humans are like. But they're not. They're subhuman to you, right? Why the fuck would you need to be educated on how other humans live their lives and that they don't wallow in their own shit? You're fucking weird. You think that we're naive. You're confusing the public by saying things like, oh, well, it just happens to be that the session where we can have a conversation about this is after the one where we might make a decision about it. You want to get this over with, right? You want the 15th to come and go, and you want us to all go, well, we tried our best, and go home. That's not what's going to happen. You're just going to make people desperate. People are safer indoors, you motherfucker. Yeah, of course they're safer indoors. Evicting people will not make them go indoors because they don't have housing. I want to speak to the students because there's so many students here. I love y'all. Thank you for coming out here. Thank you for giving your time, right? A lot of you speak about the privilege you have, and you do, and you should use it. It's ma'am, actually. You want to try again? Can I get a ma'am? Can I get a ma'am, please? Or do you not give a fuck about trans people in the city?
I know a lot of them, they're my friends.
Am I? Okay, so can I get a ma'am?
Ma'am.
Hey! Let's go! Fuck yourself.
Do you think we should get a lawyer or not?
We can try again. Let's see, the hand keeps coming up and going down. So let's try Lorraine one more time. That is Lorraine.
Also, can we confirm that the Teams meeting is working? It is, okay, it is. It is,
It's just our screen.
yeah, our screen's printed up here.
Yeah. Okay, we can't get her, so, next up, please.
We cannot unmute, it's CSD.
TSD is doing that, and they have, and so hopefully she will raise her hand again and come online. Please come up.
My name is Itzel. I live and work here in Monroe County. I just want to remind you that the people living on the street are also residents of Monroe County. You have the power to make decisions that will not put members of our community in direct danger of freezing to death. I don't know if that's something that you ever thought of happening to you, but I'd like you to experiment with empathy for a moment. I fear that in the making of this plan to evict our unhoused neighbors in the dead of winter, empathy and community have been completely forgotten. Your community is here today pleading with you for the lives of others, and it is time to listen. We implore you to remember that community is only as strong, healthy, and safe as the least privileged of us. That's all I have to say to you.
I have Lorraine on the phone. I'm not speaking, but the Teams isn't working, so she asked if she could call in. Is that okay?
Sure, hopefully we can hear.
Yeah.
If you don't mind holding it up to the
I
microphone.
don't mind.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Try again.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I'm glad that I'm finally able to speak. Given the fact that I would like to address that I anticipate there's an active decision to not unmute my mic because my name is Shelby Porteroff and Julie Thomas knows who I am. I'm here to say specifically to those who are sitting in the audience that 1 p.m. meeting that's happening, that was rescheduled after Julie Thomas and her administrators worked with our group to have a meeting set for last night at 7 p.m. after business hours so that the constituents who they represent could attend and discuss. Note that that meeting was also originally set in advance of their agenda this morning where they will be making decisions on the topic. And by they, I want to be clear, Julie Thomas is leading this charge. And Julie, I want you to know that
see you at 1.
Good morning. I am Austin Clark, and I am a Bloomington resident. Like many of us, I'm a student here, so I'm happy to be here at this time when I guess it started at 10 o'clock, but it seems like time has come up a lot, and I just have a few questions on what time means. I understand that your goal is to have productive conversation, but you're abusing the people within your community's time by rescheduling something that we have met here to talk about today at 10 to 1. A lot of people can't actually rearrange their schedules in the same way that this meeting has been rescheduled. Yes, this is a time for comments and not a discussion, so these questions are rhetorical, of course. But why did we meet here at this time with the intention to speak about an eviction notice that is now pushed to when people cannot show up? That is something that I'm having a hard time understanding right now. What does it mean for you to be able to push this back to a time that is most convenient for you as the committee instead of a time that works for the amount of people that are here in the room to discuss this? That is another question that I have that I'm slightly confused on. And then lastly, as many here asked, what is making it so difficult to postpone this eviction notice to a time that is not good for the committee but for the community? As we all know that there are going to be freezing temperatures this weekend, and it's looking to be kind of a brutal winter. So I think that many of us believe that the eviction notice I think that many of us oppose this eviction notice, but the real question here is why now? And those are my questions on time. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Massimo Pisano. Around this time last year, I worked at Bloomington Hardware, and it was interesting because it got so cold last year that we were getting calls multiple times a day for road salt, and every time we restocked it, we would run out that morning. And this is multiple pallets of road salt that people were getting to battle the frost. And not long after that, I was let go from my job there, and I haven't been able to find full-time work that would support any sort of shelter since then. And if it weren't for my mom and my brother, I might be in that encampment right now. And this meeting might be about me among all the other people whose fates are going to be decided by whether you postpone it to springtime or not. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Good morning. Today I want to talk about Hoosier hospitality, and specifically Hoosier hospitality for who. And I also want to talk about dehumanization, which is what has come up many times over and over again today. And I want us to think for a second about what it takes to directly put someone in harm's way, knowingly and intentionally. And what that requires is dehumanization, to see people as not on the same level as us in some way, as separate from us. And we see a lot of that nowadays, it seems, online, in the news, but also right here. And I'm really concerned about that because I'm, an Indiana resident, grew up in Indianapolis my whole life. And my family really instilled in me that Hoosier hospitality. I've heard it over and over again, that if you can help someone, you should. And it seems that delaying by several months just to even just help people stay alive for a little bit longer. That just seems in line with what our state always prides itself in. So I feel a bit confused by what it takes, and just I think psychologically inside someone's head to do that to another human being. And I find it really concerning that we have to have people come in here and plead to stay living in their tent. I think that you're incredibly brave for coming in today and doing that, but no human being should have to stand before you and do that. So there's just the gravity of that. I don't know about you, but I was super impacted by hearing that today, and that's happening right here it's in our community, and all that anyone is asking for is a few more months, which I don't really see how that would harm you individually. So yeah, I just wanted to say that and to kind of end with that reflection. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Basil. I think a lot of people here today have covered in detail why it is so fucked up to evict people in the middle of winter from where they're camping. I personally have experienced a different aspect of the fucked up housing situation in Bloomington because it's top to bottom. It's not just this one issue, this one day. If you're lucky enough to have a stable income and have access to technology, you can spend your days getting yanked around by slumlords while you sleep on your friend's couch because your last lease ended and you couldn't get a new place. And that's if you're lucky. If you have people who will, let you live for free with them and, open their homes to you. If you're not lucky, you have to just figure it out completely on your own with no support because the services in the city are completely inadequate. And there's not really any care. I've been to so many meetings like this for so many other instances of different evictions, different winters, and I just feel like I'm talking to a brick wall every time. We hear the same excuses, the same problems, the same, there's this code, there's that code, and always hearing that there's some vague plan for a future date where we will figure these things out, and it never happens. I lived in Bloomington for 6 years. I lived in Indiana my whole life. I'm from Indy, so Bloomington has been part of my kind of extended Indiana community for my whole life, and it's always the same shit every year. What is it gonna take to not just keep putting it off and saying we'll evict people in the dead of winter and we won't give an extension for that, but we'll keep giving an extension to ourselves for finding any kind of solution? It's just ridiculous, and there's just so much unnecessary suffering in all of this that doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to be this way if literally the 3 people I'm looking at right now would just make a different choice. That's all.
Hello, my name is Ashley. I am a resident of Monroe County, but I also work in Indianapolis as a healthcare worker. I work night shift. I can't tell you how much sleep I've lost caring about people that you don't care about and how fucking just miserable it is because it doesn't have to be this way. I don't think you care about how brave it is, that people care about their survival so much that they're willing to show up here, look you in the face, and just tell you how disappointed they are in you. It's also incredibly strange to me that you hold the power to make a decision that doesn't affect you. Very strange the way the world works, I guess, but it doesn't have to be that way either. I also just find it strange that the thing that we're asking you for is to actually do nothing. It would cost you way less time and energy to just take this seriously as a serious request, because people do die, and people have died, and people will die if you don't take human life seriously. You exist here today because somebody cares about you. I hope you're fucking glad it's more than one person. And I hope everybody in camps or in any encampment today knows that people care about them too. And that people will show up and show out for you. Even if it's, as you like to say, uncomfortable. I watched somebody really struggle to get through their speech today who is living with the consequences that you decide. He shouldn't have to fucking be here. He should not have to be here. This is a waste of your time to not make this decision as easy as it should be. My grandma looks just like you, and now I probably don't like her as much either. The same haircut. It's not brave or honorable to make people come in here and ask to live. It's just not. It's really, really not. I work at the county hospital in Indianapolis. We watch homeless people die all the time. And that's with getting some like small amount of medical care that they might need, and that has been put off for way too long because nobody cared to help. When you have the resources, all you have to say is okay. You don't have to ask for money. You don't have to get in somebody's pocket. You could just say yes. It could be very easy.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Josh Tapp. I'm a 36-year resident in Monroe County and sixth generation business owner, resident. I've served with the Bloomington Fire Department 10 plus years. Obviously, homeless is a main issue today. I want to maybe give a solution to help some of these people. I'm not sure some of the topics or solutions that have been presented. One thing I'd like to present that as a possible solution, I don't know if any of you ever thought about storm shelters or almost safe rooms, but they are basically a waterproof, weatherproof building. They can be heated, they can be air conditioned, very, very low cost. I know some numbers that have been thrown around about Beacon and all this are $9 to $10 million. These can be set within about an hour. I think to buy them is about $5,000 a piece, but over a 10-year cost. You're looking at $500 a year, $1.30 a day. 2 to 3 people can easily live in some of these shelters. They're roughly 10 feet by 6 feet. They have lockable doors, so all their stuff would be safe. They could make these a small home if they wanted to. I just wanted to present that idea. I don't know if anyone's ever talked about it or not, or a place to put, that many shelter houses. That's about all I've got to say about the homeless. My next topic is for single-family homes in Bloomington. I'm 36 years old. I graduated from Bloomington South in 2007. More and more people my age and younger are struggling to find single-family homes in Bloomington that they can afford, number one, and plant their roots and stay here as families. They're also, sorry, collect my thoughts here a minute, but basically more and more people my age and younger are leaving Monroe County just because they cannot afford to live here. I think the county and the city have got to work together on trying to figure out how to get more single-family homes into Bloomington that can be affordable. It seems like the city of Bloomington keeps growing up and up and up, and there's nothing happening in the actual county. I think there's a responsible way to find places to have these single-family homes that are affordable, but it seems like any of the projects in the county are not approved or shut down very quickly. I definitely think there's a responsible way to make these things happen in a responsible fashion and still protect all the things that, you know, topics that are important to people. That's all I've got to say today.
We have online LM.
Hello, I am a lifelong resident of Bloomington and Monroe County, and I oppose the evictions. We should not risk the lives of some of our neighbors for the supposed comfort of others or for any other excuse. That is all I have to say.
Thank you.
Is there another online one? Or, okay. Hi, my name's Thomas Piggott. I wasn't really planning on speaking today. If I'm being honest, I didn't really know who any of you were yesterday, but what I will say is what I know about you now is exclusively negative. And there's a whole room full of people behind me who think of you as murderers or even just putting people in harm's way. And I guess I don't have some grand thought behind this, except, I don't know, I would find that existence miserable. I can't imagine going and walking my dog in like Bryant Park or whatever you guys do and running the risk that someone is gonna walk up to me and yell murderer, and deep down, I know they might be right. That's all. Thank you.
It appears we have, do you have any online? Okay.
Madam Past President, can you hear me okay?
Yes, can hear you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Thomas, and members of the board. My name is David Henry. I'm a resident of Van Buren Township. I'm one of the Monroe County Counselors. I want to thank you for going ahead and setting the time with this public comment period. And I know we're hopeful to move this conversation to earlier today or later today. I'd like to read into the record the letter from the Monroe County Council to Commissioners on December 10th. The letter was signed individually by 6 of the 7 members of the unanimous Democratic caucus of the council. Dear Commissioners, know that our ethic of care as county officials and public servants is aligned in support of all members of our community, and none of us wishes to do harm in our work. We as concerned individuals respectfully request the Board of Commissioners officially stop all action regarding the removal of people property from Thomson property. We appreciate the 1 week stay on planned eviction, and note that the winter weather played a role in the decision. Given that the weather conditions are and will remain unpredictable for the foreseeable future, and that our conversations with constituents, service providers, and members of the public underscore the lack of immediate threats to public safety and health, there is at least considerable ambiguity and differing positions on conditions on the property that would warrant action by the county. Please postpone all eviction action until there is a protocol or plan for addressing concerns about the encampment. Such a plan will be informed by a number of entities, internal and external, including members of the unhoused community, and worked on collaboratively to address our concerns. Collectively, our immediate questions and concerns include: what was the process for notifying the residents of their eviction both for the 12/8 and 12/15 planned events? What funds are being used? What are the contracted services? What internal county resources are what housing entities are involved, and what are the impacted individuals, where are the impacted individuals going. In the absence of adequate response to this request, the council may consider it.
Okay. Not sure what happened with our screens down here. We're still online, so please come on up.
Hello, my name is Joffrey Livingston, and I am just here to reiterate, along with what many others have said, that the decision, these eviction notices come without a lot of public oversight. Many of the key architects of the decision are non-elected officials, and I and many others would agree that at the very least this decision needs to be postponed, because not even a vote from the board came into play with these decisions, and in between now and a date like, say, April 1st, it should be something that the public, the board members, and even non-elected officials should come together and try to make a better decision.
Thank you. All right. So we have a number of agenda items we need to address today, so we're going to move forward with that part of our meeting, so that we can be back at 1:30, 1 o'clock for our meeting until 2:30. So, can we go ahead and have the next agenda item, please?
Move approval of minutes for December 4th, 2025.
Second. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any comments, corrections, or edits? Okay. All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes for December 4th, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next, item please.
Move approval of the claims docket on accounts payable December 11th, 2025, and payroll December 12th, 2025.
Second. We have a motion and we have a second. Hogan.
The accounts payable claims docket for December 11th, 2025 totals $11,492,900.